And that's the place we need to get to. And I don't want to put any guilt trip down on you. I don't want to give any hopelessness. There is, if you recognize something of that, and all of us sit in church sometimes and we think, I'd rather be at home in bed. But if there's something there, then just take it back to God and tell him. Just acknowledge it to him. Say, Lord, I'm feeling like this. I don't want to. Will you help me? And the best place to be in is this book. The best place to be in is having Christian music and Christian sermons and just stuff being shoved into your ears and being washed. And it will have its effect. And it will stir in us a passion that the gospel really deserves. I really get convicted, I think, the times that I used to go to England football matches and I'd scream and shout my head off at some guy kicking a ball into a goal. And then when we get into church, we're like all timid and kind of reserved. The gospel deserves a lot more than that. And that's the truth. Anyway, number one of the essentials, the things we need to do, you need to preach the gospel. Don't think you can get away with just living your life out there, living it well. And this is the second point. Okay, we're going to get onto it. It isn't like we don't do that at all. But to see people saved, you have to tell them. So open your mouth and say it. Second point is to live it out. And like I say, people put these up on two kinds of sides. And they say some people are like the preaching people, and you have to preach to people to get them saved. And some people are like the evangelism by your lifestyle, friendship evangelism, you've heard of that term. And you put them up on two sides. Why? Why can't they be together? Why can't you live a holy life and preach to people? Or is that not possible? Sometimes it sounds like it is. It's both. It really is. Turn to 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 17. First Peter chapter 1, just read a couple of verses, 3 verses, 17 to 19. And if you call on the Father who without partiality judges according to each one's work, conduct yourselves throughout the time of your stay here in fear, knowing that you are not redeemed with corruptible things, like silver or gold from your aimless conduct received by tradition from your fathers, but with the precious blood of Christ, as of a lamb without blemish and without spot. You weren't redeemed with silver and gold and corruptible things. You were redeemed with the precious blood of Christ. That's a powerful, really more powerful truth than I think than I've managed to take on board fully. That's powerful. It really is. As I start off this point, I want to make it clear. What I'm not saying is that if you live a holy life, your evangelism will work every time and people just get saved. It's not what I'm saying. There is no formula to seeing people get saved. God has to do it and he has to work, and ultimately you can't save anyone. But the Bible tells us, in fact, if you went back a verse to verse 16, we could have done in 1 Peter, it says, it is written, be holy for I am holy. That was the essence of the Old Testament law. That was what God was all about. He said, you be holy as I am holy. That's what the Bible's all about. And for us to expect that we're going to go out and do evangelism when our lives back at home and our lives in the secret place and even our lives maybe out in public sometimes aren't matching up to what God has said, for us to expect that to happen, something's wrong there. Something's not quite right. Holiness for a Christian that's what God made you for. He made you to be pure. He made you to shine. He made you to be different. Flip over a few verses to the same book, 1 Peter chapter 4. And this is part of the impact you living a holy life will have. 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 3 says, for we have spent enough of our past lifetime in doing the will of the Gentiles, when we walked in lewdness, lust, drunkenness, revelries, drinking parties and abominable idolatries. In regard to these, they think it strange that you do not run with them in the same flood of dissipation, speaking evil of you. That's the effect we should be having. People should be looking around at our lives and looking at them and saying, that's weird. And that may not be nice to have people say that about you, but they're going to say that. That's weird. Why are they not doing this? Why are they doing this? Why are they not the same as me? Why is there like 18,000 students in this university that are exactly the same as me, and then there's like these 50, 100, 150 over here that are different? Why? That's weird. And the verse even says they're going to speak evil of you because of it. That's the impact that you being holy is going to have on people. I love the way he puts verse 3 in chapter 4. We've spent enough of our past lifetime doing the will of the Gentiles. You could rephrase that and say, we just wasted enough time. Let's stop that now. Let's just get on with it. We've wasted our time doing all that stuff before. Before you were saved, you did all that kind of thing. Before you were saved, you ran with the Gentiles and with all the rest of the people into the same stuff that they were doing, same attitude, same heart, same outworking. You were doing the same stuff. Now let's stop wasting our time and let's go the right direction. That's basically what Peter's saying. Stop wasting time. Put it to something that's worthwhile, something that's good, something that's worth doing. Really, within this point, I wanted to share just a little bit about my own testimony and what happened when I came to university. I came to university not being saved. I've been in church, like I said, all my life. And I came, and I wasn't a Christian. I didn't know it. I still believed I was. Got baptized when I was 17. I honestly, and I wasn't really trying to put a face on or try and pretend. I wasn't trying to fool anyone. I really thought I was. I really genuinely thought that I was a Christian. And I came to university, and every week, and some of you have heard this before, but that's all right. Every week I get the same illustration. We have an after 8 group in our church, student group. We go up to the top room in the church and we just sit around. It's a bit more informal, a bit more questions and answers and discussion, and I get some time to interact. And I come up to that group every week and I'd hear the same illustration. And it would be about this chicken. Chicken in I don't know what countries they are, like in Africa and places, they used to tie a chicken to a pole, and because they didn't want their chicken running away, they'd tie it to a pole with a bit of string. And then the chicken, all it can go is like in a circle. So what it does is just runs round. Just keeps on going round and round and round and round. And it can't go anywhere else because of the string, so it just keeps on running round and round and round and round. After a while, and after so much running round and round in circles, you can actually go to that chicken, you can untie the string, take it away, and you know what chicken does? It just goes round and round and round and round and round and round and round. That illustration every week, and I don't think that's an exaggeration, every week it would come up. And the illustration is, as Christians, sometimes, when you're not a Christian, like we heard this morning, just emphasized over and over again, what do? You run around in the same circle of sin, of lying, the same circle of anger, the same circle of jealousy and envy and covetousness, and all that kind of stuff is going on in your heart, and you're just running round and round and round. For most part, you don't even want to get out of it. Even when you do, you actually can't run away. You can't get out of it. You can't break that chain. You can't break. It's not just a piece of string. It's a chain. You're chained there. You can't get out. Sometimes that chain gets pulled off. Not sometimes. When you're a Christian, that chain does get pulled off. You're set free. If you don't believe me, read Romans 6. You're set free from sin. The chain is pulled away. You can walk away. But you know what? Sometimes we're a bit like chickens. I don't think it says that in the Bible. We're a bit more like sheep. But anyway, sometimes we'd be like those chickens. We just run round and round in circles. And we're doing the same stuff. And we don't know why. And we don't realize we're free. And just walk away. Because you can. That's what the Bible says. I came to church and I'd hear that illustration all the time. Every week I'd hear it. And you know what? My life when I was in university was like this. I was running around and around in circles. And I couldn't get out. After about a month of being in university, I was actually pretty much, other than the fact I went to see you on a Friday night in church on a Sunday morning, maybe evening, I was exactly the same as anyone else in the whole university. I was doing the same stuff, going to the same places, drinking the same stuff.